Hey guys, Tom here from the Investing with Tom YouTube channel. Today we're not talking investing, we're actually talking saving money. And obviously you can't invest a lot of money unless you have a lot of money saved up. So it's a pretty important one, and I'm going to give you a few of my top tips, some of my best sort of money saving tips that I've used personally to save close to 50% of my after-tax income over the last 12 months. So I hope you get a lot out of this video. I hope you really enjoy it. If you do, definitely hit like and also subscribe. Leave some comments down below so that I can get your thoughts on some of these tips as well. So let's get into the video, and I hope you enjoy. So a lot of videos on YouTube, whether they're personal finance or otherwise, like to give you a top 5 or a top 3. Today we're going to mix it up and give you a top 4. So here are my top 4 money saving tips. The first one is a tried and true one, and if you've watched any money saving videos on YouTube before, you've probably heard it, and that is something called pay yourself first. So what most people do when they get paid, when they have money come into their bank account every week or every fortnight or however often it is, what they typically do is they'll pay their expenses, they'll go out and spend money on, going out on the weekend, on food, on clothes, whatever they want to spend it on. And then at the end of that week or that fortnight, if there's anything left, then maybe they'll save what's left. Paying yourself flips that sort of method in reverse. So what I want you guys to do is every time you get paid, I want you to set a figure that you want to save each week or each fortnight, however frequently you get paid. And as soon as that money hits your bank account, you're straight away sending that amount that you want to save instantly into another bank account that you're not going to touch. That second account that you're sending this money to is for savings, for investments, for putting a deposit on a house, all that kind of stuff, and money never comes out of there for spending unless it's going to be invested and it's going to return more money to you overall. So there's a couple of really good advantages to this if you pay yourself first. So if you get rid of that money as soon as it comes into your account, you automatically put a percentage of it into savings. You're probably going to save more money overall. You're probably going to have less left over to spend, and it's going to be less tempting to go out and buy a new iPhone or go out and buy those new clothes or shoes or whatever you're into. So you're going to save more money overall, and it also creates a lot of consistency. So when you start to look back on that savings account and see the list of transactions, you're going to see the same amount of money coming in over and over and over again, and it makes it really easy to set savings targets and savings goals. And you're not, shooting yourself in the foot by spending first and then saving. You're putting that money away first, and then you're going to have a little bit left to spend in your sort of everyday life as well. So practically the way that I set this up, I basically have 3 bank accounts, not including investment accounts and foreign currency stuff that I use for buying overseas shares and that sort of thing. I have 3 sort of main bank accounts around everyday spending and saving. So my first one is just an everyday sort of checking account. So this is what's linked up with basically my debit card and what I can spend every day on whatever I need to spend money on. So that's the first account, and that is basically the account I get paid into. So all my expenses go directly from that account. Any savings I will send from that account to the other accounts I'm about to speak about. So account number 2 is basically an emergency fund. So I recommend that everyone sets up an emergency fund. The amount that will be sitting in there will vary a lot person to person. That may be $1,000, it may be $5,000, it may be $10,000, it may be $20,000 for some people. So basically what you want to do is you're going to fill that emergency account with whatever your figure is, and money only comes out of there in case of emergencies, just like the name suggests. You don't want to pull money out of there if you use all the money in your checking account for that fortnight and feel like having an extra beer at the bar that weekend. That's not what the emergency account is for. The emergency fund's there for if you have a car breakdown, if you have some sort of family emergency, a genuine emergency that you need money for that's unexpected. So that's the second account. The third account, so once that emergency fund is filled up, basically the third one is a high interest savings account, and this is really the beast that we want to build over time, and this is the one that I want you to set up an automatic payment for. So the second you get paid, or the day you get paid, I want you to set a figure, send that straight to your third account, your high interest savings account, and money, like I said, never comes out of there unless you're going to put that into another investment. So those are the 3 accounts I sort of have. Pay yourself first, that's the way I set it up, and it's going to help you save a lot more money in the long run. So that's tip number 1. Let's get into tip number 2. All right, so tip number 2 is more something to avoid than something to go out and actively do, and that is avoiding something called lifestyle creep. So lifestyle creep is essentially as you become a higher income earner over time, like most people become. They do an apprenticeship or they leave university, and over time their income goes up and up and up as they kind of climb the ladder, or as they maybe start their own business or whatever it is. Often what happens is when people start to earn more money, they also start to spend more money in a similar proportion. So if you're getting paid, $500 a week, then, you're not going to have a lot left over to spend after paying rent and things like that. If you start to earn, $600 or $700 a week, what typically happens is people will start to spend an extra $200 and they won't actually be able to save anymore. Then they'll go ahead and earn $1,000 a week, and all of a sudden they'll be spending $500 more a week than they were in the first instance when they were only getting paid sort of $500. So that's lifestyle creep, and that is something that you will really need to avoid. It's something that will absolutely destroy your rate of savings and your sort of wealth creation long term. So, I want you to live like a student, basically. If you did go to university, one of the great things that university unintentionally teaches a lot of people is to live very frugally. So, in New Zealand, we have the classic, living on 2-minute noodles and living in cheap rentals and doing all that kind of stuff. Those are great tips to save a lot of money through university, or to at least get by through university. If you carry that on and you continue to earn a high income or a higher income over time, and you keep those expenses at a base level, then your savings will snowball and snowball and get sort of higher and higher over time. So that's my second tip: avoid lifestyle creep. If you get paid more, just start saving more into that high interest savings account, like I talked about in the pay yourself first example. So, if you're putting a few $100s from every pay into that initially, and you start to get paid a few more $100 every sort of payday, increase that savings account contribution by the same amount. Keep living on that base level. You're going to save a lot more money over the long term. Your investments are going to grow over the long term, and it's about becoming rich and not looking rich. That's what we want to do. We want to become rich slowly over time. We don't want to be the ones, with the Gucci bags and the fancy shoes and all this stuff that's actually broke when you look in their accounts. So avoid lifestyle creep. That's a real killer, and one that you probably see around you every single day with your friends. So avoid that one, and let's get into tip number 3. Tip number 3 is focus on the big stuff, and this is contrary to a lot of the personal finance channels that you'll see on YouTube with money saving tips. A lot of times you'll see things like, don't spend money on Netflix subscriptions, and don't buy physical books, which, as you can see, I love a physical book, so I haven't listened to that one too much. Avoid these little subscription services and gym memberships if you don't need them. Also New Zealand powerlifting, so I'm avoiding that one as well. Basically, although that's true, and although a lot of those little expenses do add up over time, I think there's a lot more room to be gained from focusing on the big stuff. So rather than focusing on, the Spotify subscriptions and the Netflix subscriptions and reading books, I want you to focus on the big stuff. So focus on things like rent. Focus on things like food. Focus on, expensive clothes, cars, holidays. Those are the things where a lot of money can be saved. So if you're not spending thousands of dollars on going overseas, maybe you're taking a smaller sort of local holiday or something like that. That's a huge amount of money that can be saved. And if you put that into something like a compound interest calculator, you'll see that a lot of money can be saved over time. And every dollar that you save today through the time value of money can compound to be worth much more in future dollars. So your future self will thank you for not buying a $20,000 car or $30,000 car when you can't afford it, for not living in a fancy rental or buying a house and paying a mortgage on it that you can't afford either. So, if you're making say $50,000 or $60,000 a year and you drive a $30,000 or $40,000 car, that is more car than you can afford. So, buy a 5 or 10 grand car, something that is much more reliable, maybe even cheaper than that, something to get you from A to B, and it will help you save a lot more money in the long run. And as we know, as investors, a dollar saved today is going to be worth much more than a dollar to your future self. So focus on the big stuff. If you can live cheaper and live like a student, just like I said in the previous video, that's going to be fantastic, and it's going to help you ramp your savings rate up a huge amount. It doesn't matter if you've got 6 figures coming in the door or 5 figures coming in the door or 7 figures coming in the door annually in terms of income. It's about how much you can save and how much you can put away to grow to live on in the future. So that's a big one for me, is to focus on the big stuff. Yes, the Netflix subscriptions and things add up, but it's the big stuff that will really kill you in the long run. So my fourth and final tip to save more money is to set a goal. And in a lot of endeavors, goal setting can be extremely helpful. Unfortunately, in a lot of endeavors, it's quite tricky to put, to quantify your goals, to put actual numbers on them. So if you're a rugby player, for example, you might say, I want to be a better rugby player. I want to be a better line-out thrower if you're a hooker. I want to be a better tackler and that sort of thing. Often, goals like that are quite tricky to put actual numbers on. If your goal is to be a better person, or to go out with your friends more often, or whatever it is, those can be things that are quite tricky to put physical numbers on. With something like money, fortunately, money and numbers go hand in hand, so it is extremely easy to actually put a number on what's achievable, but what is also ambitious for you. Set those goals high and also work backwards and figure out what it's actually going to take to get there. If you want to save $5,000 in a year, or $10,000 or $20,000 or $50,000 in a year, there is a way to get there, and the way to get there is to figure out how much you actually need to save each week or each fortnight to practically get to that figure, to get to that target, and work backwards to figure out what you need to be saving each month or each year. I've found those goals to be extremely motivating, and oftentimes when you're working with money, like I said, you're working with actual numbers. So as you can see yourself progressing towards that goal, it can be really motivating to continue onwards. And one of the cool things that's happened to me a couple of times is I'll be well on track to this goal, and I may come into some extra money for some reason. So maybe I get a bonus at work. Recently, I've sold my dirt bike because I don't use it anymore. All these little things that can contribute more money to your income overall. And when you're already well on track to kind of meeting that goal and setting that goal, and you also have this extra money that you just funnel straight into that savings account I was talking about earlier, you can exceed your goals and you can do far better. Maybe you get a pay rise at work. Maybe you get a whole range of things that could potentially happen. Maybe you're starting a side hustle, you're starting a business, maybe you have some dividend income from your investments, maybe your investments go up, maybe you buy a rental property. All these sorts of things can potentially happen that can actually propel you a lot further along than you initially planned. So I find goal setting to be extremely motivating, not just in saving money, but in a lot of other stuff. But saving money, it's very applicable. So set a goal, set a target, and meet it. And each year, try and be a little bit more ambitious than you were the previous year. And over time, your future self will thank your past self a lot for the work and the sacrifices that you put in over those early years. So those are my 4 money saving tips. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did, definitely hit like and subscribe on the video, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.